Zdravo, pure-hearted viewers. Zdravo is hello in Serbian, the official language of the Republic of Serbia. I'm Ivanka. The benevolent people of Serbia wish you eternal happiness and glory in the Divine's grace. Welcome to our program, A Prayer for Compassion, an interview with filmmaker Thomas Wade Jackson, vegan, part 1 of 4. Mr. Thomas Wade Jackson is an award-winning American filmmaker, photographer, and musician. In this 4-part series, we are privileged to hear Mr. Jackson share with us what inspired him to do a vegan-focused documentary and the messages he is hoping to deliver through his film, A Prayer for Compassion. The work's creation led the brilliant producer and director on a journey to meet and interview spiritual and religious people from around the world and discover the real connection between veganism and faith.
Warning: you might find the content herein disturbing, but the truth must be revealed.
How can we expect ourselves to have lives of joy and freedom and spiritual clarity when we are sowing the seeds of the opposite of that?
It's almost like some mad scientist designed these systems that are being used now to raise animals. It is absolute insanity.
I don't get how you can love everything Jesus says and then participate in a mechanized system of mass slaughter that involves pain beyond your wildest imagination.
Even keeping quiet and silent about the violence, you are part of that violence.
There's another passage in the Quran that says that because of the wrongs of humanity, there has been much corruption seen in the oceans and on land.
So for a few moments in which we're enjoying what is really just a palate preference, we're taking what is most essential to animals, their very lives. And that's the opposite of compassion, it seems to me.
We are ashamed of our ancestors who owned slaves. We are ashamed of our ancestors who believed in segregation. So too, our grandchildren will be ashamed of what we allowed to happen on our watch. Each of us has to ask ourselves a spiritual question. What side do I want to tell my grandchildren I was on? Was I on the side of mercy and compassion, or was I on the blind side that helped to perpetuate suffering?
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine.
My name is Thomas Jackson, and I'd been vegan for about 8 years when my daughter was born. But after she was born, I saw this movie called Cowspiracy. And in Cowspiracy, I discovered just how detrimental animal agriculture is to the environment. So it wasn't just a personal choice anymore. So I had the whole notion and realization that, I'm not going to be here for her whole life, and I can't protect her forever. And if we go the way we're going, it's going to be a very scary world when we pollute all of our water. I knew I had to do something. I really felt compelled and called to do something. I said a prayer, I'm like, what would you have me do? And I just started meditating.
In meditation, the underlying idea for a prayer for compassion came to him. However, he initially faced self-doubt and internal resistance regarding whether he could undertake such a project.
But these three things came to my mind when I had the resistance. The first thought that came to my mind was, you'll get the opportunity to ask questions of people that I've been listening to on podcasts like Dr. Tuttle and other spiritual people. You get to sit down with these people that are so brilliant that you admire, and you can ask them questions and you will learn. And my soul went, I love to learn. Tell me more. So this was Spirit's way of getting through my resistance. The second thing it kind of showed me or told me was, you'll come home and you'll edit all this footage. You're going to absorb it. You'll have this information at your fingertips. And I thought, ooh, that sounds interesting too. You know, I like to be able to answer questions of all these people and help them understand why they should be vegan. This would be great. So the third thing it showed me was actually Dr. Tuttle. Because Dr. Tuttle, he had become like this role model of mine. You know, he had written this book called The World Peace Diet. And what it showed me is that he travels the world, all over the world, sharing what he has learned in his research. And the third thing it said is, you will share. Everything it showed me has unfolded. The resources I needed would show up right when they were needed. After I started saying yes and walking in the direction, they would show up time after time after time again.
Let's take a moment for a brief intermission and constructive message. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our program, A Prayer for Compassion, an interview with filmmaker Thomas Wade Jackson, vegan, part 1 of 4.
You know, I pray and meditate before all the interviews. I just say, you know, I'm here. Whatever you need, use me. Like that force of love and life, use me to make a better world. And I encourage us all to just be open to being vessels, you know, like the prayer of St. Francis, let me be an instrument of love and peace, compassion. And what I've discovered, which is a spoiler alert for the film, but all of the traditions that I interviewed are in total alignment with a vegan lifestyle. Not only that, a vegan lifestyle exemplifies their teachings of compassion. One of the things I really have become very excited about is interfaith. You know, we created an interfaith vegan coalition in 2016. You see us create it in the film. Because when I first had the idea, I just knew it'd be about spirituality and veganism. Now, my first interview was with Victoria Moran, who is our producer and connected me with everybody. She says, you know, all religions have compassion as one of their base things. You know, can't we all agree, despite whatever your religion is, that we should be compassionate to each other and to all of life? Like, that's the thing that really connects all religions. So I believe compassion is the door in to bringing peace between the religions, because I'll tell you, interviewing people from all of these walks, they all have similar things in common. They all share that we have a body temple, that there's a spirit that resides in that body temple, that you should take care of that body temple. That's very clear. That goes right with a plant-based diet. You know, it goes right along. They all say you should take care of the environment, be stewards of creation. You know, we should be concerned that we are polluting our water and that we're using our water. Each of us, if we are spiritual, we are stewards here, and we have a responsibility to take care of this planet. Every path that I studied tells us that. And that goes along with a vegan diet. There's a lot less of a footprint. And the third thing that they have in common is that they tell us we should take care of each other. You know, we shouldn't be selfish by taking all the resources and by eating animals. It takes all these resources, this water and this land. You know, they eat 5 times the food we do just to feed us a little bit of not even very nutrition at all, you know, and it's all toxic now because they're being fed ground up fish that have all got the toxin in their body. So there's nothing healthy about it for us or the environment. And that goes against all the teachings of all the past. And the fourth thing I would say is that all the past tell us we should be taking care of animals. We should be loving animals, that they're our companion. I heard somebody ask the question in the creation story, when Adam was lonely, what did God do? And everybody said, he created Eve. But no, when he was lonely, he created the animals. Animals were here to be our friends, not our food. And then later it goes on to say we have dominion over animals. In the same verse it says that God has dominion over us, which our dominion should be as God's, which is love and kindness and mercy. You know, and then you go 3 verses later, after we're told we have dominion, it tells us to eat plants exclusively. Like, I grew up Christian, I had no idea how it all, the first conversation between God and humans, how it really spelled out that animals are not here to be eaten, that they're our companions, and that we should only, healthy plants. When it comes to compassion, doing the least harm to all of creation is the tenet of all these paths. I would say compassion is not only leading us down to a vegan path, but it's also our connection of the interfaith of bringing us together, giving us something that we can work on together. A lot of this has come about by Dr. Silas Rao, who is one of our producers. Well, in the film, he mentions asking audiences this question, and it's a brilliant question. Would they ever unnecessarily hurt an innocent animal? And so far, he has not had a single person say, yes, sign me up. Bring me an animal. I'm ready to just hurt them for no reason. Nobody would do that. And then he says, congratulations, you're vegan. And I got to thinking, that's so true. Everybody's vegan at heart. Everybody's true nature is compassion. I believe that most of the unnecessary suffering on this planet is caused by that out of alignment. As I was making this film, I'm meeting so many people that have healed their lives by changing their diet, that have healed their illnesses, their depressions. Within the first month, they start feeling a physical better, and some people are losing medicines and stuff along the way. But within a year, their heart softens. They become more connected. Like if you came in it for environmental reasons, suddenly you get the animal thing. Whatever reason, health reasons, right? You're no longer ingesting violence, and your body no longer has to numb itself to pretend it's not bringing in that thing. It's just your body relaxes and your heart relaxes. So I know that what we are sharing is a gift that will change your life. And I've seen it over and over and over. So when I speak to people and they're vegan in their heart, and I know that they are out of alignment, I know they're suffering, and what I have is a gift. So instead of having judgment for them, I have compassion for them.
Mr. Jackson's powerful vegan documentary is titled A Prayer for Compassion. He elaborated on why he believes we need to pray for compassion to create a positive present and future.
There's a lot of research about prayer. They did control studies where some people got prayed for, some people didn't, some people knew they were being prayed for, but even the people that didn't know they were being prayed for were feeling it. And that attests to that connection we all have and the goodwill we can send to others. There was a time when I first started meditating, and I remember everybody I passed, I would just wish them a blessing. Peace, love, and joy. Peace, love, and joy. Peace, love, and every time I did that, I felt like a little peace, love, and joy coming through me. And it felt good, like I was receiving it. I grew up Southern Baptist, and we prayed. Every night I prayed, and I spoke to God every night. I think it's so important that we put our attention on the things that we really want to see happen, because our thoughts are creative, So it's good to hold positive, creative thoughts.
Mr. Jackson gives advice on what one can do to help manifest much-needed change on our earth, namely, how we can move faster to a compassionate and peaceful vegan world.
So I think the first thing you can do for the environment, align yourself with your true compassionate nature, is to make sure you take the violence out of your diet. I believe that the change is coming whether everybody consciously goes vegan or not, because the experience I've had with people, their hearts softening from taking violence out of their diet, is about to happen on a wide scale. One thing you can do is be vegan. The other thing you can do, if you're already vegan, is really work hard to find compassion over judgment. And when we're as a group, and we go places and we protest and we have the cubes of truth, it's important to bring that up. It's important that we shout our voices. That is so important. But when I am sitting next to you in my life, whether you're my coworker, somebody in my church, or my family member, or just somebody I pass in the grocery store and see every day, I don't need to be shouting at you. But there's this saying that when you walk away from people, they'll very seldom remember what you said, but they always remember how you made them feel. I've become a vegangelist because I know I have the gospel, the truth, I have this gift that's, I've seen it change life after life. It's changed my life. So when I talk to somebody, I know that if they take this gift, it's going to change their life, and I'm excited for them. The other thing you can do as an activist, whatever you're advocating for, is not judge people, have compassion, but know your information. Watch the documentaries, read the books, know what it is.
Mr. Jackson is very concerned about what kind of planet his daughter will inherit. He also spoke about his wish to touch those with kids with his film.
One thing is I want the film to affect parents. When my daughter was born, I felt like my heart exploded. I didn't know you could love like that. I didn't know you could care like that. I didn't know you would feel like you would give you anything to take care of this child. I'm so glad that I was 45, because I was at a point, I'd already been meditating, I was at a point I was ready to be with my daughter. It changed everything for me. I have a friend that he uses the term, it puts skin in the game. You have skin in the game now. Suddenly you care about the crime in your neighborhood or the fact that the planet's being destroyed. And that's why seeing Cowspiracy affected me way more. If I'd seen it without a daughter, I would have said, oh, I'm doing my part. Cool, I'm doing my part. I am making a difference. I'm a hero. Anybody, whether they're an activist or not, if they're living a vegan lifestyle, they're making a huge difference, and I'm proud of them, and I'm happy for them. And I was happy enough with myself until my daughter was born, and I was like, oh my God. So I really implore parents to really mirror these compassionate choices for their children. It's so important that we teach our children to be compassionate, and because they naturally are. I've met so many people that were vegan for their children. There's so many amazing vegan activists out there that are children, and I love them all.
Both vegans can win are pushing for change. Then change will come.
Supreme Master Ching Hai gratefully present the Shining World Compassion Award to Thomas Wade Jackson, with a token gift of $10,000 to lovingly support his promotion of veganism. May God always bless and shield you every day.
Warning: you might find the content herein disturbing, but the truth must be revealed.
How can we expect ourselves to have lives of joy and freedom and spiritual clarity when we are sowing the seeds of the opposite of that?
It's almost like some mad scientist designed these systems that are being used now to raise animals. It is absolute insanity.
I don't get how you can love everything Jesus says and then participate in a mechanized system of mass slaughter that involves pain beyond your wildest imagination.
Even keeping quiet and silent about the violence, you are part of that violence.
There's another passage in the Quran that says that because of the wrongs of humanity, there has been much corruption seen in the oceans and on land.
So for a few moments in which we're enjoying what is really just a palate preference, we're taking what is most essential to animals, their very lives. And that's the opposite of compassion, it seems to me.
We are ashamed of our ancestors who owned slaves. We are ashamed of our ancestors who believed in segregation. So too, our grandchildren will be ashamed of what we allowed to happen on our watch. Each of us has to ask ourselves a spiritual question. What side do I want to tell my grandchildren I was on? Was I on the side of mercy and compassion, or was I on the blind side that helped to perpetuate suffering?
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine.
Jesus was so clear, go to the Spirit, meditate, or even seek ye first the kingdom is within. Go by the Spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. You have to measure it. You have to meditate on these verses, and you have to say, is this kind, is this loving, is this life-affirming? The choices we make every day, that dollar we're spending, is the most important vote we're making, and it is what's feeding the instrument that is destroying the planet. And what we're seeing over and over is more people go vegan. These corporations that have been destroying the planet are suddenly like, oh, I'm going to vegan option. These dairies been in families for years are like, oh, we're out of that business, we're going into oat farming or whatever, because we are voting with our dollar. So it's so important that as you spend your money, you find out what you're voting for. Within the film, you'll see in 2016, we created this interfaith vegan coalition within In Defense of Animals. With this coalition, at this point, we're creating compassionate living circles. Because in the film, I'm challenging people to make more compassionate choices, and we're going to actually build a compassionate living challenge to go along with the film that not only for 30 days or however many days you choose to take it, do you eat a really healthy plant-based diet, but you also meditate, and you exercise, and you sleep good, and you take the violence out of your media consumption. Give yourself a month to focus on compassion and see how it changes your life.
Let's pause for a brief intermission and constructive message. We will be right back. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our program, A Prayer for Compassion, an interview with filmmaker Thomas Wade Jackson, Vegan Part 3 of 4. Before our intermission, Mr. Jackson discussed the American Animal Protection Group In Defense of Animals Interfaith Vegan Coalition that is featured in the film and its Compassionate Living Circles program to promote plant-based living in houses of worship. He now expands on the spiritual side of veganism.
There's so many studies of people, just the diet itself will change your life. Just meditating, if you're never meditating, will change your life. Exercise, if you never exercise, will change your life. And for me, those 4 pillars of the exercise, sleep, meditation, and the good, clean food, making sure you're getting your nutrients, have made it where I not only feel energy and good every day, but it's hard for me to get anxious. My body just feels so good and has the energy now because I am honoring this temple that is housing this beautiful spirit that is within all of us, and I honor it fully, and I become more and more aligned, and I feel better and better and better. So I think it's important that within our compassionate living circles, now, anybody can start these in the world. We're going to have a way you can contact us. They can be interfaith within a community, because what I've noticed is as people see the film, as these compassionate people become aware, I have so many people, bless their heart, all these activists are bringing their religious friends and their family to the film, and I have so many come up to me afterwards and say, I had no idea Because, you know, that question that popped in my mind in the meditation about how can a spiritual religious person do it, like I had the answer to begin with. They don't know. My main message now is like, let's just really try to be compassionate with the people we're advocating to, because they're never going to hear us if we don't. Let them know vegans are loving, man. We got the gospel. We got the truth. We got a good news. The gospel is the good news that your life will change.
Let's now focus more on the key word of Mr. Jackson's documentary titled A Prayer for Compassion. What exactly constitutes compassion? The film director kindly answers as follows.
Compassion, like I said, when I started, it was just going to be about veganism, spirituality, and religion. And Victoria mentioned how compassion connects all the religion. I thought, wow, compassion. And then I looked up the definition of compassion. And I realized, oh, wow, it's a twofold definition. It's not just empathy. It's like having empathy for another's suffering. That's the first half of compassion. If you only have that, you really only have empathy. The second half is to the point of being motivated to take action to alleviate that suffering. So the second half is being motivated to do something, you know? And so I like to tell people, like, you know, eating a plant-based diet is doing something 3 or 4 times a day. You're taking an action 3 or 4 times a day to vote when you buy it and to take care of your body when you eat it, and to be an example for those around you who are watching your health improve and your energy improve. So once I realized that compassion was an action, you know, I thought, yeah, I really want to make this about compassion. You know, we start the film with my daughter and I blessing our food, you know, and at the end, I actually say the prayer. So at the end, what I say is, I challenge each of us to be more compassionate with our choices, to vote wisely with our dollar, you know, to take care of all the creation, including our body temples, and to take the time every day to go within and meditate and ask, what can I do to make a better world for those yet to come? And then listen quietly for that still, quiet voice to answer. That's the very last narration of the film. I gave away the ending, but, you know, I mean, that's my message.
We now continue our interview with Mr. Jackson, the American filmmaker of the vegan documentary, A Prayer for Compassion. This fascinating film traces Mr. Jackson's visits with various religious and spiritual leaders about the most important principles they all have in common. The result was that he discovered all traditions are in alignment with the vegan lifestyle. He shared with us about his own unique spiritual journey of inner awakening.
I mentioned 3 of my first gurus, which was Jesus, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Bruce Lee. Well, meeting Jesus, his niceness and sweetness always came through, and I always felt connected to wanting to do good, you know, and his example in that way. But then, and you know, I didn't mention this in the film, but Mr. Rogers was a big example. And yeah, he was a minister too, I found out later. He helped with my kindness.
A very good feeling, the feeling you know that we're friends.
But I tell you who helped free me was first Obi-Wan. There's a scene in Star Wars where he tells Luke, you know, that there's this force that runs through all things, that connects all things. And the way he described it, it made me, well, this feels kind of right, you know? I didn't have words for it, but it was the beginning of understanding that God is not a person in the sky kind of thing, or that we were taught as a child. And then Bruce Lee, when I got into martial arts, after we worked out or whatever, they would have us sit quietly, and it was the first idea of like the meditating idea. But Bruce Lee had written this book called The Tao of Jeet Kune Do. He was a philosophy major, you know, in college, and one of the things he said, and the only thing I really remember from the book was, he said, I studied many traditions and many paths, and I kept what worked with me and I let go of the rest. And that kind of freed me. I tell you how Jesus freed me too. He freed me by when he talks about the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. That gave me permission to realize words are going to be misinterpreted, that we really need to go with what's the moment, you know. And I didn't have words for that either at the time, but through meditation I've come to understand what he was trying to teach, which was don't go blindly, because people will try to control you. And he really taught a lot about fear not, fear not, fear not. Jesus understood that when you're in fear, you're out of love. When you're in fear, you can be controlled. When you're in fear, you make bad choices and you do things you wouldn't normally do if you were in alignment with your compassionate, true nature. And meditation is one of the best ways to do that. The best way is to learn to be present, no matter what's coming at you. You know, just be here. And being a dad teaches a lot about that too. That changed my life as well. Children are just so present and honest, and I'd say that she has been my most big spiritual lesson. And I like to tell too, since we're talking about spirituality, you know, unity really is like a metaphysical. They teach a lot about how your thoughts control the world and the tools of manifestation like gratitude and excitement and visualization. I believe that when you take these tools and use them for a purpose that is beyond your goodness. It's like the proverb of the man who plants the tree, the fruit tree that he'll never eat the fruit from. Like, that's the kind of thing. In the Native American tradition, the 7 generation, like when we make a choice, we need to be thinking, how is this going to affect people, you know, 7 generations from now? You know, that was part of their tradition.
At the end of our interview, we asked the community-minded filmmaker what other message he would like to share with our worldwide viewers.
My main message is, you know, the challenge I'm presenting is not just for non-vegans. It's for vegans, it's for anybody. I think all of us need to embrace taking care of ourselves, having self-compassion, having self-love, because honestly, the way I'm able to sit and send love to somebody who's disagreeing with me and really feel it is because I've learned to love myself, learn to accept myself, to be vulnerable. You know, you have to learn these things. Meditation helps us discern. That's why when you hear a verse that may go, oh, go take it within, meditate on it. What does that really mean? Does it serve all of life? I want everybody to meditate and ask, what can I do to make a better world? And then when you get the answer, move in that direction. Don't wait for all the stuff to come to you, because if I was waiting for the right cameras and the right people, I would still be waiting to make this movie. I just knew I had to move. And then the universe will meet you and give you the things you need. Please be courageous. Please realize that if you are living a vegan lifestyle, you are a hero not only to me, but to all of creation. And that's brave and courageous. And so honor yourself, know that you're brave and courageous, know that you don't have to solve it all. You just plant your seed and I'll water it, and I'll plant my seed and you water it when that person comes along. You don't have to fix it all in a day. The universe works through all of us, and if you really meditate and see what's happening, the pendulum is switching and swinging over to this compassionate world that's coming our way. So I just applaud you all and thank you for the work you're doing with the Supreme Master TV. Is amazing work you're doing, but also every activist, whether you're an activist or not, every person out there who's being kind, thank you. Thank you.
Our heartfelt applause and appreciation, Mr. Thomas Wade Jackson, for your inspiring message and noble endeavors that are changing people's hearts and lives. In divine grace, may we all join together in prayer and meditation and take courageous, loving actions to bring ourselves ever closer to a peaceful vegan world. Supreme Master Ching Hai gratefully present the Shining World Compassion Award to Thomas Wade Jackson with a token gift of $10,000 to lovingly support his promotion of veganism. May God always bless and shield you every day.
Supreme Master Ching Hai is deeply grateful to the beloved God for all the financial help, comfort, and support to the afflicted and needy, and/or any good cause over the years, as a humble vessel for Here's compassion and love toward Here's precious children.
To learn more about Thomas Wade Jackson's work and to watch the documentary A Prayer for Compassion, please visit aprayerforcompassion.com. Kind viewers, we are delighted you could be with us for today's program. Coming up next is Wake Up and Be Vegan in This Time of Cleaning, Part 6 of 6 on Between Master and Disciples, right after Noteworthy News. May your sincere, compassionate prayers always be answered in God's overflowing love.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/GPGW.